All right, everyone. Welcome to Crochet Business Chat. We are going to be talking today about, I need to cover my, um, okay. We're going to be talking today about, all right, I'm going to get good at this at some point, but we're going to be talking today. I'm sorry for about that. We're going to be talking today about, um, do you sell at markets? Are you a crochet business owner who sells at markets and you're wondering, am I actually making money? So often, we find that people who are selling at markets don't understand their margins. They don't understand how much money they're actually taking home, what their, profit is, what their net profit is, what their gross profit is, what their wages are. The whole thing is completely confusing. It's hard enough to get your pricing strategy figured out, and then after that, figuring out, "Am I actually making money?" is a confusing thing. Let me see if I'm live. Hang on just a second. I don't think I'm live. We're gonna start all over again. All right. Are are we live? I think we're live. Eventually, I'm gonna figure out how this whole thing works. So we are here. Okay, it looks like we're good. We are here today to talk about markets, how to make money at markets. Am I making money at markets? And how to arrange your pricing and figure out your profit margins to ensure that the time you're putting into making products, going to craft fairs, making the sales is actually worth it. Because so often we'll see people saying, "I made $1,500," but when you dial down their actual, uh, costs of doing that market, it ends up they've made $100 for 3 works worth of work, and that is just not, ideal. So, let's take a look at kind of how to get the pricing right in the first place. So, and I will keep an eye on, the chat, and forgive me for the kind of rough beginning, but we're gonna get used to this. So, um first, I wanna talk about how to get your pricing right, and this is the strategy that I use. You may or may not have my product pricing calculator. I'm gonna, talk about a resource in a little bit that you might find super helpful, in working out all of these details. So, let's just talk through it. So, the first thing you need to do as a maker is get your pricing strategy right to ensure that you're getting paid for the time that it takes you to make things and the time that the money you get paid for the time that you take to make things, that is not your profit. That is not even your wages. It's basically just, um, the payment that you set aside to make up for the time that you spent. And eventually, you may be paying contract crocheters for this. So this is not money that you're, like, counting on, but this is all the money that I'm taking home from these products. So the strategy that I use is supplies plus time times wage, which would be, like, the hourly amount that you're paying yourself, for and the time that it takes to make that product, so supplies and times time wage, that's your cost of goods sold, and then we add on, like, the cost of your general business expenses, so this would be, how much per product are you paying for product tax? How much per product are you paying for shopping bags? How much are you paying per product for other general business expenses? Now, these aren't the expenses specifically related to this event, so it might be that you take your annual event, your annual business expenses, like your website, your booth setup, all of the stuff you need to set up your booth, again, your shipping products, your, um labels for things, all of that, and you divide it by the number of items you expect to sell, and then you add that. I just make it like $2 per product I add as general business expenses, all right? And so then we're going to divide that by 1 minus your retail margin. So your retail margin is basically how much more money do you wanna make than the cost of the item? So for me, I go with 55% markup, 55% retail margin, 55 is my retail margin. So, and like I said, this is confusing, and I have a calculator to walk you through this. But basically, that's the way that I do it. And your retail margin is meant to cover your net profit, your owner's wage, so that what you pay yourself for being the owner of the business, and your taxes. So if you are using a profit first model, which is what I use in my business, these numbers will range somewhere between 5 to 10% for profit, 35 to 50% for your owner's wage, and 15 to 20% for taxes. So what I do in my own business is I do 5% profit, 35% wages, and 15% for taxes, and that all equals out to be 55% retail margin. So basically, when I sell an item, 45% of that money is the cost of creating the item, right? So it's my business expenses, my costs per hour, and my supplies. And then 55% goes for those other things, my profits, my owner's wage, and my taxes. So that's how that all breaks down. So, of course, you can adjust these based on your own desires and your own business goals. So, have any of you used Profit First to figure out the margins that you want to use in your business? I would love to know, like, where you're at with that, if that's something, that you have found helpful. So, I want you to remember that when you do markets, there's often costs incurred that are not covered by your regular pricing strategies. So the pricing strategies that I mentioned are your, like, general average business expenses, but it doesn't take into account those booth fees, your gas that you need for this event, your hotel, your meals, any additional cost of doing a specific event, and it also doesn't take into account your credit card processing fees. So these are all costs over and above what your normal pricing strategy would account for. So you need to, as you debrief your craft fairs, go through and say, "Okay, so I priced my items at this. I have a 55% retail margin, and of that 55%, how much do I need to take to pay back my business for all of these things that I paid to, participate in this craft fair in the first place?" So, you'll have to go back and you'll deduct my booth fees, my gas that I use, any hotel, any meals, anything else that you purchased in order to conduct this particular event. And then you have to go back and you account for your credit card processing fees as well, which are typically around 3%. So that's gonna come out of your business profits and your own wages. So that comes out of your, um sorry, I keep getting distracted, I'm really sorry. So that that comes out of your retail margins. So, there we have that. So, again, these costs are deducted from the gross sales amount in order to determine your actual net profit. So again, I've created an automated calculator to help you with all of this, and I will do a separate video on YouTube to walk you through that calculator. Right now, it's in beta testing. We wanna make sure that the numbers are actually right, but what that calculator does is it will walk you through, what are your specific retail margins, then it'll tell you um, you can put in your fees for this event. So my booth fees are this. This is how far I'm driving. My general gas is gonna be this. My hotel is gonna be this, and it will tell you your, um, base, amount of sales that you need to make to break even. So, you know, your break even amount, anything over that is gonna be your profits. So, remember my calculator's not ready yet, but you can get on a wait list. If you go into my stories, there will be a link. There's also a link in my bio that you can click on to get on the wait list for the calculator because I know that as I'm talking about this, it sounds super complicated and confusing, and I want you to be able to have a really easy tool where you just plug in your numbers and it spits out the details for you. So it's gonna spit out and say, "This is your break-even sales amount," and then you put in, "I actually made this much in sales," and it says, "Okay, this is your net profit," so that you can know exactly how much money you're making on every craft fair that you do. So you need to break in sales goal, um, so that you know what to shoot for. So it's like, this is your break-in sales goal, and then as you make even more sales, your break-in sales goal goes up because you're gonna have to pay more in income taxes, you're gonna have to pay more in credit card processing fees. So we calculate all of that into, um, the, again, cost of running that market. And then, don't forget about sales tax. Now, we don't count sales tax as profit or expenses because the customer pays for the sales tax. So we charge the customer sales tax, and then we set that money aside, and then we pay back the government the sales tax that the customer's given to us for. So for us, it's a wash. Those funds were never ours. So we're just collecting it on behalf of the government and then sending it to them. So we don't have to worry, does this play into our profits, or expenses? It doesn't because it's something totally separate. Now, I don't recommend that you roll sales tax into your product prices for the exact reason that, um, mm, you get into the whole issue of, like, people will just say, "Oh, I rolled my sales tax into my product prices," and they didn't really actually do it, and so now you have to subtract that total amount from your gross profit. So in my area, 8.6 is the amount of sales tax. If I rolled my sales tax into my fees and didn't actually to my prices and didn't actually change my prices, now that reduces my profit margin by 6. So if my profit margins are um, set at 5% of my fees, I'm actually paying it's ridiculous. Don't do that. So, I recommend always charging the customer based on the actual sales tax cost, and if you use Square or you use a calculator, just calculate it out, bring change with you to give them their change back. If they, pay cash, it's not that big of deal. And then just keep track of, I made this many sales and therefore I have to pay this much sales tax. That money was not mine in the beginning. And then just track that religiously. Okay. So that's what I recommend. In Colorado, it's illegal actually to roll your sales tax into the price of your product. So that makes it easy here, but some places are different. I do have a couple questions. So, do you also count time spent selling? Do you make product I do make product at fairs if it's slow, but I do for myself because I really want to run a business that actually makes money. And so if I'm showing up at a craft fair and I'm spending an hour setting up, working, and then an hour taking down, I need to pay myself for that time or else I'm not actually running a business, right? I'm just kind of volunteering my weekend to go make 0 money, right? And so we need to pay ourselves for the time that we spend. So yes, the calculator rolls that into it has a slot for, um, craft fair, wages, so hours spent for both yourself and anyone who's working for you. If you have someone who is helping you and you're paying them, you need to roll that into your expenses and have that as a line item, so you know where all the money that you're making is going. So, I realize I'm volunteering my time spent manning my booth. Yeah, most people are, and so we're saying, like, I'm giving up time with my family, I'm giving up time on my weekends, away from my spouse, away from my friends, I can't go to the barbecue because 'cause I'm doing a craft fair, but I'm not paying myself for that. So I'm just kind of voluntarily leaving my life, coming to do this thing, and am I actually making money? Is it worth it? I think we have to know those numbers if we're going to run an actual business. Alright. Will it be available in CBA? So, yes. So, if you're in CBA, this will be, a bonus that's free for you. So, yeah, you'll be getting it as soon as it's ready. Same with, Crochet Biz Lab. If you're in Crochet Biz Lab at the time it comes out, which will be in October, you will get it as well. Um, but then it will go away. It's only available for 30 days inside Crochet Biz Lab. Okay. So that is my presentation for today. It feels to me like it might have been a little bit, um, all over the place, and so if I've confused you, I apologize. Basically, the ultimate message is you need to know your numbers, and I would say maybe 1% of makers actually know their numbers. If I asked you, "What is your retail markup?" When you sell a product, how much of that sales price is profit? And then if you're doing a market, of that profit, how much are you then paying in order to participate in that market? Again, booth fees, um, time spent, gas, hotel meals, all of those things. So we really need to know these numbers in order to know, are we making money as a business owner? And again, I'm gonna have a calculator available for you where all you have to do is plug in the numbers and it will tell you, ultimately, this is your profit, and it will spell it out in detail how much you need to sell in order to, make any money. What's your 0 bottom line, least amount of sales needed to make $0, and then you wanna, improve off of that. So, um, yeah, just know your numbers. Be sure to check my stories. Again, I'll have a link for the I'll do it, like, right after we're done. I'll have a link for that market profits calculator wait list, and then you can also find it at the link in my bio. So, does anybody have any last minute questions, for those of you who are watching live? If you are not watching live, if you're watching this on replay, or if you're listening on our podcast, feel free to send a message, comment below, wherever you are. Do those things and ask any questions, and I'll be back to answer those for you. Um, if you are watching live on Instagram, be sure to like this video, come back and comment afterwards so that we can make some reach on this. And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Same with on the podcast, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And again, I hope this made sense. I feel like I'm getting a little bit sick, and so my brain is a little scattered. But but I really think this is a super important thing for you and your business. So I hope you'll take the time to really analyze your numbers and know where the money is coming from and where the money is going in your crochet business. So again, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I will be back again next Monday with another episode of Crochet Business Chat. Talk to you later. Bye.